The other very important part of our marriage is to understand the power of external influences on your marriage. A lot of time, marriage is not broken up by because the two couples don't love each other or they don't get along. They break up their marriage because of interference from outside. And so you as a husband and a wife, you've got to be so focused on understanding and recognizing external influences on your marriage that you can spot them immediately. Number one, when you get married, one of the things that our religion asks is that her parents, your spouse's parents, has to be treated equally as your parents. You have to treat them the same way you treat your parents. You have to value them the same way. We don't have this concept of the hated mother-in-law in our religion. So the husband, his wife's parents, has to be given equal regard and love, just like his parents. They have to be treated as equals. It's like you have now inherited another set of parents, and you've got to deal with both sides, very fair and very equal. And so this is a very important concept in our faith that is different from the Western culture. And so that's one. Number two, uh, relatives will always be there. We don't get to choose them, unfortunately. They're picked for us by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They come, good, bad, ugly, crazy, all kinds of relatives come. And one of the first rule you need to set up among yourself as a husband and wife is, if my wife has a crazy uncle, I am not going to be the one to navigate that. My wife has to take up the challenge to navigate it with her uncle. Because if I say a harsh word to her uncle, we will forget what we're fighting about, but she will not forgive me for that harsh word I said. She will say, you don't know my uncle, he's crazy now. But when we were little, he used to do all of this nice things for us and so on and so forth. But you don't know their history. And you open your mouth and you insult the uncle, she will remember the insult, or he will remember the insult that you did for his family. So you want to be able to go through each other to deal with your crazy relatives. What we have to do with relatives is to make sure that they respect our values and they don't trample on our relationship. When it comes to relatives, they have two rights upon us: the rights of a believer and the rights of kinship. And what we are asked to do with our relatives, you can help them if you can, love them unconditionally, forgive them when they hurt you. Most of the times your hurt will be from relatives. Accept them no matter how they come, different shapes, religion, sizes, all kinds of ways. Make dua for them and defend them. So these are the things that we have to do out there, but we never allow them to trample on our relationship. We teach them how to behave towards us. And we have to say, no, no, no. We don't have, this is something that there's a line you're crossing here. I want you to respect this boundary. When it comes to friends, we get to pick them. And so a lot of people's marriages get break up when they begin to listen to their friends. It's okay to listen to your friends, but you've got to be able to think carefully and act independently. Don't allow your friends to begin to speak negatively about your spouse. When it comes to your friends, they need to know, talking about my spouse, whether positive or negative, it's off limits. I am your friend. Talk to me, praise me, deal with me. Don't talk about my spouse. Don't deal with my spouse unless your spouse is also a friend of them. So you've got to be able to manage that relationship, or else it can lead to your marriage getting break up. Because sometimes friends, they encourage and they spread words of whisperings to the other friend, and then you begin to believe that. Your job, if you have jobs that are taking you away from your relationship with your spouse, you got to evaluate back that job. The order of preference is that we choose Allah first, we choose family second, and then we choose career and education and jobs third. What's the purpose? You're working all these hours and then you lost your family. So the family after Allah comes first. So you've got to give high priority to the time you and your family and the things. If it's affecting the family, then you've got to be able to reevaluate that. Because I know so many brothers, they're working 60 hours a week I do it for my family, but your family don't see you. You're never there. So how come you're doing it for your family, and your family, you've got to be able to understand that Allah's earth is wasi'. It's very wasi', very wide and spacious. And there's lots of opportunities in the dunya. You don't have to be locked into one arrangement. Find jobs and situations that will facilitate your marriage rather than break it apart. And ask Allah and make dua to put you in that kind of situation. Environmental factors, these are like social pressure. Sometimes you get a lot of pressure from cultural norms. Relatives may be very cultural. Friends may be very cultural sometimes. And they put a lot of pressure in your marriage to conform to things which you in your heart know Islam does not condone. And so you've always got to err on the side of saying, me and my wife, we're following the Islamic guidelines. I know, yes, dad and mom and this and that expect these cultural things, but it's against our faith to do that. And if you find they're pressuring you on those things, you got to be very, very strong, saying, look, we want to follow what Islam says. Okay? We are not going out and do all this other stuff, which has no basis on our religion. So you've got to be able to withstand all of those and try to be smart to recognize them. A lot of the marriages, they break not because of internal conflict, because of external pressure placed upon them.